5, 4. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. And now we're just waiting for Instagram to catch up. And here she comes. Instagram is coming. There she is. Go live on Instagram. All right, friends. The Working Actor NYC. That's Patrick Richwood.
It's Benjamin Howes. There you are.
Hi, friend.
Hi, pal.
Here's our delicious theme music playing away in the background. I am really good. I want to get stuck into a field report really quickly. Let me fade that track out.
Field trip.
Why is it not fading out? Okay. Or you can.
Or you can.
Whatever.
Oh.
For some reason, she needs a little surge before she decides to fade.
Don't we all?
So I have been going to a lot of casting director workshops and classes, and I just want to share that there are some casting directors who say you cannot go to these events expecting some kind of introduction, expecting some kind of casting opportunity to come from them, that you have to go in with an educational intent. And I would just like to point out that sometimes there is nothing to be learned in these classes.
Yeah.
It is just, you are paying for an opportunity to meet, to try and get on the radar of these, of some of these casting directors. And it just varies.
And
some
also,
of them are great, and some of them have really educational things to share, and
Yeah,
some of them
yeah.
are just like, that was
You've
great.
said that.
Who's
You've
next?
Said that. You've said to me, you know, I am so glad I went because I had no idea who this casting director was. I didn't know anything about her, he or she, and I liked them, and I could relate to them, and now I know, you know, what I'm dealing with if I go in for them. You know,
Right.
that's a big deal. I think that's a big deal. That's
Yeah,
the
but
modern
the
equivalent of mixers, and you know,
That's the thing. It's
parties.
like back in the day, we used to call these go-sees, or at least in Australia, we used to call them
Go-sees,
go-sees.
yeah, that's right.
And now we get to pay for go-sees.
Yeah, I know. I have my issues with it, like ethically. I have
Yeah.
a whole mess. I have a whole dialogue going in my head about that. But that is, if you set this aside, how I feel about whether it's a conflict of interest or whatever, I do think that you know, that's the modern version. It's what
It's
we have.
That's
You
what
know,
we've got. And you either play with it or you don't. And you have to decide if that investment is worth it for you or not. It's
exactly.
just one of those decisions that you have to make. And you have to see where your budget is.
Exactly. And also the other thing is, I was just talking about it recently with a friend of mine. We discuss we talk about acting all the time. Not you, dear, not you.
No, I talk about
we
acting too.
This is heady stuff, you understand.
Oh, above my level. Got it.
Think
Okay.
of your pay grade as a friend. No, we talked about it. I always say, I mean, I feel a lot of the time, like I come back to the thing about like good acting is good listening, you know, because I'll see a show and I'll be like, wow, that person, or on TV or on stage, and I'll be like, what made that person so good? Oh, they were listening. You know, they were so good at being spontaneously listening. And I think a lot of that is true in these situations, these industry situations. Are you going to are you listening in order to you know, get something, you know, are you going there to like respond in some way? Like, I'm going to have an opportunity to, or are you going there to learn? You know, you're
Right.
listening to learn.
As you're talking about listening, I'm totally not listening to you because
I noticed. I totally
I'm
noticed.
so sorry
I was trying
because
to
I
record,
suddenly realized that I did not set up TikTok, and here she comes.
I'm thinking the viewers are going to be very confused
Oh
here.
my God, he's talking
No,
about listening, and I'm literally realizing.
If you're
oh,
just
crap,
listening to this
I
podcast, you
forgot.
should see the expression on Benjamin's face. He's intently listening. I've never seen him so interested in my entire life. And if you're watching, you know.
Oh my God. Okay, so now we're live on TikTok as well.
Hi, TikTok.
Oh, TikTok, you are missing out. Please come and join us over on the Tube of You. You can find a link in my link tree. Oh God, it's so predictable.
Hi, TikTok. And that's why the French don't bathe. Okay, well, we're done. Thank you so much, everybody.
Oh my God, good stuff.
That's what my friend Jan says. Every time the subway comes and she's right in the middle of the story and the subway comes blaring by, she just keeps talking. And then at the end she goes, and that's why the French don't bathe.
Mine is a lot dirtier than that. Mine,
Well,
you know, when
of course it is.
when you're trying to have a quiet conversation with somebody, and then the room goes silent, and suddenly everybody can hear what you're saying. That's the moment at which I say, anyway, after I fucked her. Oh.
Oh.
All right.
That's a comedy line on many levels, actually.
We have dealt with our we've got a lot of comments. You had one job, Benjamin. Summer over on Dolls of Horror is saying you had one job, Benjamin.
One job, exactly. That's right. Thank you. Thanks, Summer. How come I can't see these? I can never see these, and I'm always missing out on all the fun.
Hang on. That's because I have to click on them. That means I have to take. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Oh, Dolls of Horror. Thank you, Dolls.
Thank God somebody's paying attention.
Exactly.
Now, Patrick, I have a little something for you. Now that we're dealt with our field report, we are ready to dive into our.
That's good. That's very good.
I thought.
How long did you work on that? I love that.
No. No time at all. All right, let's welcome to the stage our first special guest, because today we are discussing audition stories.
Audition stories, and we're not talking about the good ones.
Well, we could be, perhaps.
Well, we could.
If that's what you feel compelled to share,
right?
Then please have at it.
But what we asked for was the ones that are memorable for the wrong reasons, because we've all got. Let's face it, we've all got them.
Every actor has that audition that they still think about at 2 a.m. And today we are seated around the internet campfire in order to share we are gathered here today to heal from the audition trauma, to share in the collective humiliation that we have all put ourselves through at some point or another.
And no experience is too humiliating. You can't possibly
unhinged, hilarious, chaotic, and I thought
we'd just plain weird.
Or just plain weird. Like this story from dear friend Lisa Carlin.
So my craziest audition story involved hopping a bread truck, a literal bread truck, to get to Ripley Greer on time. It was one of those, if you're a New Yorker, you know, it was one of those mornings where it was just a torrential downpour, so much that the New York subway system doesn't know what to do with itself, and it just floods. And my train not only didn't go forward, but it went all the way back to almost the end of the line in Astoria, which, if you live in Astoria, you know, is above a highway. So it's like, everybody gets off the train. I'm on the street level on a racing highway, torrential downpour, standing there with my umbrella and my full beat on and a backpack, just looking panicked and frantic and unsure of what to do. This is before Uber, and this was a good long ways from any other subway stop. So in my crazed desperation, there was a guy that was making bread deliveries, an actual bread truck that has the open side doors for easy delivery, I guess. This very nice looking gentleman in a bread truck said, "Do you need a ride, miss?" And I was like, yes I do. And I figured if it got creepy in the bread truck, I could always just tuck and roll out to the front door of the open door. So he drove me the equivalent of probably about 2 subway stops where I could get off and actually get a yellow cab. And I told my agent, I was like, I'm going to be dreadfully late for this. There's just no other way about it. And it was crazy. And then I didn't book it.
Oh, and by the way, I didn't get that.
And then I didn't book it.
But you know what's funny? That could have gone either way. I wouldn't have been surprised if she'd said, "Guess what? I got a call back." I mean, you know what I mean? Because those two things don't necessarily. Sometimes it just puts the fire under somebody's ass. They're like, "I got here now. I'm gonna
God
fucking
damn
work
it.
this bitch." Yeah.
I honestly think that's one of the reasons why I had early success was because had this mindset of I moved continents in order to do this. So God damn it, I'm gonna make this work.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. That's true. Very true.
Highly
That's
motivated.
hilarious. And you know what? That is a total New York fucking story. You will never hear that story. I was in London and I was going from Piccadilly and I jumped on a bread truck. Nope.
A bread truck.
That's gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
Good. I will just say an audition story that pops into mind is that there was early on in my career, in the early aughts, there was an audition day for a Broadway play. It wasn't 12 Angry Men. It was the Cane Mutiny Court Martial. Is that right? Was there a Cane Mutiny Court Martial on Broadway in the aughts?
Yeah.
And
I don't know when it was on, but it's been revived a couple of times. Yeah.
And there was an EPA for it, and Benjamin, is like, "Oh, I'm going to go to the Cane Mutiny Court Martial EPA." And that day there was an MTA strike. There were no buses, there were no subways, and thankfully at that point I just lived downtown, so I was able to just walk there, no problem. But I was one of 20 people who showed up to this EPA, and Paul Hart was the casting director, and it was my first time meeting Paul Hart, and he ended up spending 20 minutes, half an hour together because there was nobody else to see. Just talking and getting to know each other, and we became sort of pals after that, and he would call me in a lot. So
yeah,
God bless the breakdown of the MTA.
God bless the breakdown of the MTA. Now, I thought what I would do is intersperse these with little mini ones of my own, because I was looking through this. I made a list, and I've because of my thousands of years in the business. Where'd you go, Benjamin?
I'm still here.
Oh, I don't see you.
Well, I just wanted to maximize you because you were going to take the stage for a moment.
Okay. Look out, world! I really found, I was like, I've been through a lot of these. I've got a ton of these in my pocket. Not proud of it, but actually I am proud of it, because each one forges you stronger, don't you think? I mean, in a way, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And the one that first came to mind was, I was in LA and I was doing the play Dracula, playing Renfield, and having a massive success at it. It was just a role that I was born to play. And I was killing. And a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, it's not who you think, by the way, who saw the show, me in the show, had just won a Tony Award. And he said, he called about, I don't know, a month after he'd seen the show, and said, they're doing Dracula, a musical on Broadway, and you've got to go in for it. You've got to go in for it. They have to see you for this. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know. I wasn't living in New York at the time. And he was like, no, who's cast? I'm going to find out who's casting it. And he said, I know who's casting it. The guy that cast my last show, the show I was in before it was the assistant. I'm going to call him. I'm going to set up an appointment. You're going to go in there. I'm going to get you in. And I was like, okay. I mean, I don't know how to, if I have okay. Do you have the money to get to New York? I'll buy you a ticket. I'm like,
oh my God.
Okay. Cool. So I didn't, I wasn't making any money in Dracula in LA, but I went to New York thinking, and I had reached out to the office and left a message, that casting director's office, saying, I'm coming. So-and-so sent, I faxed my resume and picture. So-and-so paved the way for me. I'm so grateful. Thank you. And I'm coming to the auditions, and I don't have an appointment yet. So, and then I went there. I didn't know. I went there. I went straight to the audition. And the assistant was like, well, I don't have you on the list. And I was like, well, I no, this is what happened. Oh, okay. Well, I'll pass this along in the room, and then we'll get you. Okay. Well, about, I don't know, an hour went by, and I'm just sitting there, and the casting director comes out and he calls in and he makes an announcement to people, and I'm sitting with a bunch of big heavyweights.
Okay.
Not for my role, for the lead, to play Dracula,
Okay.
and to play some of the other lead. And I don't see anybody that's my type. I don't see anybody that's up there for Renfield. And I brought music and everything, and he looks at me and he just walks in. And about another half an hour goes by and he comes out again and he says, and I said, excuse me, Mr. So-and-so, I can't. For the life of me, I was trying to remember the name of the casting director, and I cannot remember. I mean, I shouldn't say it anyway because it would be rude, but I can't remember it. But anyway, I said, he's like, I'm going to have to talk to you later. I'm busy. So he goes back in. We do them. So I wait another half hour. I'm waiting in the benches. It's like one of those Ripley group. And
Super
finally he
comfortable.
comes out, and I'm like, and he's like, yeah, I'm not seeing you. I don't know your work. I haven't seen. And I'm like, yeah, but you had a thought. And I called the office. He was like, yeah, I don't, that's a shame. I'm not going to see. And I'm like, hold on a second. What you're saying you're not going to even make time to see me after all of this? And after I called the office and everything, said like, yeah. And he went back in. About 15 minutes later, he came, there was a break, and he came out and he went into the bathroom, and I followed him into the bathroom, and he's standing there peeing. And I said, I'm sorry. I can't. I got to tell you, I think you're making a big, dumb mistake. Why wouldn't you see me when you have the vetting of this person and you've seen my resume and you've seen all this? Why on earth wouldn't you take a chance? He's like, I don't know you. I'm, in there with people that are big shots. I don't think. And I said, who gave you your first opportunity? Do you think they knew you? Don't you think they... Fine, I'll see you at the end of the day. I'm like, okay.
Oh.
So I waited. The whole time I'm waiting there, people are coming and going, I know you. I know your work. I saw you on. I said that. You here for this? Oh, great. I'm like feeling like a million. End of the last person. I'm sitting there. He goes, you can come in now. It was me, him, his assistant, and the piano player. I gave the piano player my music. I started to play. He started to play. I started to sing. And he just started looking through the submissions, the people that they had seen, and talking to his assistant. And the whole time I finished singing, he said, thanks. And I left, and I got on a plane and I went home.
Oh, Patrick, no.
At the urinal. That's right. And you know what? I'd do it again. You know why? Because I believed in myself, and I thought, you're being an idiot. Why wouldn't you take a chance? What's the worst that could happen? You say to them, this guy's got the vetting of this person. He's got this. Shall we see him? He's right for the role. I mean, should we take it? Do you want to? Or at the end, at least be like, I'm calling this if I like you, I'll call you back. And then listen to me and watch me, but not that. It was.
I mean, that could have been a polite way to get to deal with it. Instead, that casting director chose to be a dick about it.
It was super douchey, and I'd already had a lot of New York credits, and I'd already had a lot of film and TV credits, and I was playing Renfield. So anyway, I'm not righteous about it. I feel like an idiot about it. But the point is, I couldn't have won. I did everything. I really did everything I could think of. I tried to be. I didn't listen. I know it sounds like I cornered him in the bathroom. I didn't. I just wasn't interested in being ignored anymore. Like after a plane ride and everything.
You moved continents to be there. The least you were going to do was show up, get in the goddamn room and sing the goddamn song.
Yeah. So I went all the way out there and I was like, this is going to work out. And it didn't.
All right. Let's bring our next.
Like at intermission.
Speaking of getting in the room and singing the song, let's hear from our next contributor.
Hi, I'm Andy Pagliuselli, and my craziest audition was when I was 18 years old, and I auditioned for Cedar Point Amusement Park, and I brought in the music for Something's Coming from West Side Story. Dun 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 is the opening, and that's where you have to find the entrance. Could be, who knows? I always had difficulty, and I wasn't studying voice at the time, so I kind of went in blindly. I gave my sheet music to the piano player, told them how I wanted the tempo to go, and I stepped, "Hi, I'm Andy Pagliuselli, and I will be singing Something's Coming from West Side Story." The piano player began to play and had their piano or keyboard set to, I guess, bell choir, and so the music went ding 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 gong gong ding ding gong ding 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 ding, like handbells sounding, and I was like, could be, who knows? And I finally got into it. There's something new any day, I won't know. All of my sheet music falls off onto the floor. It was a complete disaster, starting with the bell choir and then the music that fell off the piano stand. I simply said, that's good. I think we're good here. Bye, and walked out the door. I didn't get the job. Really?
Andy.
Oh my God. I love that story. It's just the bell choir setting, like, for what reason?
Oh God.
I feel like, didn't your friend have a similar story where you have one to read, don't you? I can't remember who it's from. It's from Kelly.
It's from Kelly. Yeah, it's not the same. But I will read it. Have you ever had that thing where, like, the pianist is the thing that really fucks you up, and they're not going to acknowledge it. Nobody's going to acknowledge it because they're in the room all day together. But the pianist, like, starts on the wrong key, or you say, I need it to be kind of clippy because otherwise I run out of breath, and they just go like this, or it
was one of my early mistakes. I had a cabaret. I had paid music arranger to do my own arrangement of if you want my loving, if you really do. And it was this great, sexy, bluesy arrangement of I Love You, but the Aretha Franklin song. And but it was in a slow, six. And this accompanist just could not get the hang of it and ended up playing it twice as fast.
Oh no! Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I learned a long time ago that people that I've worked with that write out my arrangements and stuff for me they'll understand, and I've now learned, I mean, long ago learned to say, I want you to write it like it's a first time music theory person reading it. I want every nuance that we're charting here written down in a way that they cannot miss. And I do that because it might be a little bit of an insult for the not vast majority of the people playing for auditions out there who are great, but it's really useful when the person is not so hot. Then they just got them. I mean, I've had plenty of ones where it's like, they're not very good.
I mean, like, auditioning is a skill, and I feel like being an audition pianist is a skill as well. You can be a fantastic musician, but being able to instantly translate what somebody's saying to you about the sheet music that's right in front of you, and I think it takes a breadth of knowledge of the repertoire as well. I think that
yeah, that's true too. Yeah, Kelly, my friend Kelly Walters wrote, this one is about an audition that I was so bad I just walked out of the room right after I said the line. She said, I was in it was a procedural, and she said the line was 2 hot waters, 1 tea bag. And she said, I went into the room. There were 2 lovely, welcoming casting directors. She said, they said, anytime you're ready. She said her line. It was so bad, she just immediately walked out of the room. She didn't say a word. She went, picked up her thing, and walked out of the room and left. That was it. No words. She just walked off camera and out the door. She says in the next thing, they did call me in for another audition, though.
Oh, so she didn't mess it up as bad as she thought she did.
Another time, either that or they forgot, and they just liked her type, and they said, "Oh, let's have her in for this," because it was a different thing. But she said, why I love this one is because a lot of times, just as many times as it's the fault of some other thing, just as many times it's our fault. We sabotage ourselves because like I I happen to know her, and I happen to know that sometimes when she thinks she stank up the room, she didn't. She was good. So it's just and I bet you anything that that's a thing that all of us can recognize in either in friends or in ourselves, where we just like stop in the middle. I have a director friend of mine who directs films, and he's always like, please don't stop yourself in the middle of and say, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to say, don't do that. You don't know how it's occurring for us over here. And you might have wrecked a great take,
Yeah.
So
we are so fond of overthinking, and sometimes we just overthink in the middle of a line and sabotage ourselves.
I know. Oh yeah. As soon as I'm in my head, forget it. I had an audition once that was for the show Murphy Brown. Remember that show with Candace
I
Bergen?
loved Murphy Brown. Are you kidding me?
And she had a different secretary every episode because she was such a hard boss. She had different episodes. Every secretary different every episode. And I went in to be a secretary, and it was to be this Russian guy. And I went in for this notoriously tricky casting director, kind of it's a neurotic mess. And if you got on her good side, you were in. But then she could turn on you like a bipolar casting director, one of those people.
Okay.
She came in, I came in, and she said, and I'd done a lot of TV at this point and small things, and she said, I just want you to know I'm taking a real risk here I'm going to set you up for a callback. I read, she liked it. She's like, and have you come back, but I'm taking a risk here, so I really need you to be on your game, because this is, like, she totally just fucked me up. And she didn't say any of that. She just, come on back. And she said, do exactly the same thing. Came back. I can say with impunity, I did the exact same thing. I gave her exactly the same reading. And I saw this, this kind of pall came over, this wall came down, like
over the casting director?
With the producers. And I started to get nervous. It was a palpable energy. It was like, like her face and her body and everything changed. Like, what are you doing? And I was giving, really, I swear to God, I'm the 8 shows a week guy, for 3 years. And my hand started to shake. There's nothing worse than you're holding the sides and because you're, and like, and so I got in my head, and that was it. And but I still gave a reliable, I was. You
didn't embarrass yourself, and you didn't embarrass her.
They could have used that take on. That would have been. They could have used that take in front of an audience. They really could have. By the time I got in my home on my car, my agent was like, "What happened?" She said, "You just completely went 160 degrees in another direction. You completely betrayed her. She specifically." And I was like, that's not what happened. But it was like, God. And fortunately, my agent, everybody knew this we were dealing with a potential nut job.
Right.
But yeah, bad. Horrible.
Ooh, just the shaky hand. All right. Shall we hear from another friend?
Yes, please.
Here we go.
This is an audition story from a really, really long time ago. When I was a kid, I was auditioning for professional theater in New York and whatnot. And this was probably 2010, right? So self-tapes were just becoming a thing, right? They're starting to get on the scene. And my agent said, Natalie, we have a self-tape for you. Film this at home and send it in. And me and my parents, we didn't know how to do a self-tape. We didn't know what that meant. So we ended up filming the scene like cinematography style, you know what I mean? Like, I was sitting on a couch with my mom and dad. My dad is in the shot, or maybe it's my mom is in the shot, I think. And my dad is filming, like doing close-ups and everything, getting really into it. No backdrop, me and my scene partner were in the shot, acting together. And of course, my parents were so nervous because they're not actors. They didn't know what they were doing. And so we sent it in, and then my agent got back to me and said, so I guess we need to teach you how to do a self-tape. And we were so mortified. But hilarious thinking back on it, especially now that self-tapes are such a thing. No one really teaches you that. You just sort of expected to know it, except for Benjamin Howes. So that's my silly audition story.
I love it. I love you, Natalie.
That's our beautiful friend and incredibly talented human, Natalie Welch.
She is an incredibly talented human. She's a remarkable talent.
And it's just adorable to think of her. I
know.
I'm gonna beg her parents to find that audition tape so that we can see it, because I'll bet it still exists somewhere. Because that's one of those tapes that you would never get rid of. But yeah, I just love the idea.
Friends, I have loads of friends who are like, I didn't have anybody, so I used my mom, and my mom is like, who do you think you are? Anyway. And you're like, oh, God,
I wish I could remember what my first self-tape was, but I'm sure it took me hours. But I'm so used to them now, I don't even think about it,
I don't remember self-tapes before COVID. I don't remember. When she said 2010, I was like, really? I don't remember them.
There were, but there were very sort of specific situations.
And not for theater, right? Mostly for TV or
for TV, yeah. I remember
Yeah.
doing it for TV.
Yeah. There was a time when nobody would even dream of thinking of having somebody self-tape for theater unless it was like a star and they couldn't get to the
how times have changed.
Yeah. Fuck, no kidding. God. It's true.
All right, so I will share with you a quick story. My very, 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 very first audition in New York City. I was studying at HB Studio. I had recently arrived from Australia, and I was like, great, I can go and audition now. And there was this non-union, tiny little black box production of Godspell. And what's interesting is that our mutual friend, Danny Goldstein, at this very time was directing a production of Godspell that became quite famous. Barrett had a whole host of amazing people in it, Leslie Kritzer and Barrett Foa, and people.
Oh, yeah.
Right? This was not that production. And I auditioned for this little black box production of Godspell, and I must have gotten a call back because they said, can you sing the opening of the show? I can't remember which disciple sings the, I don't know, Bob or Dwayne. I don't remember which disciple sings it, but it's the prepare ye the way of the Lord.
Yeah.
So I sing and I finish it, and he says, that's wonderful. Now sing it again, but I want you to sing it invoking all of the mysteries of the universe. And so I sang it exactly the same way. It's like, what sort of bullshit note is that? Like, that doesn't even make any fucking sense.
Oh, Benjamin.
I did not book the job.
You couldn't just give a little and invoke at least
invoke a little mystery. Okay, not all of the mysteries of the universe.
God,
just one mystery.
You didn't have to take him so literally. You could have invoked a few mysteries of the universe. God, lazy. That's just lazy acting. That's what that is.
It was my bad. My bad.
Can't take
an
adjustment. Thank you. You know what? Honey, can you make an announcement out there? Please tell people we need the invocation of the mysteries of the universe, or why are they here? Who do we have next? So oh, and then there's the other thing where you go. They've asked you to please prepare these 14 pages and these 4 songs, and you have 4 days to do. And it's a Broadway show, and you do, and inevitably you get there and they go, oh, by the way, we're only doing the first scene and the first song. We are not singing people. And you're like,
I have this story.
You can set your watch by it.
I have this story. I was auditioning for a new production of The Phantom of the Opera was going out on tour. So it was a brand new production, not the Broadway production. And so they brought the British team over, and Mary Sugarman at Tara Rubin's office asked me to prepare the entire manager's scene. scene, which is a 10-minute, 7-part harmony, of which culminates with prima donna, first lady of the stage. And they asked me to prepare everything, the full 10 minutes, 48 pages of music. And
48 no, you're kidding.
No. It was 48 pages. It was 10 minutes of the show. It was 48 pages of music.
Wow.
And luckily I was pretty familiar. And when I got there, the British team were like, great, lovely to meet you. Let's start with something from your book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so I sang from my book and they said, thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
As I'm walking out the door, I gather my stuff. I'm such in shock. I go and I just sit down on a bench outside. Mary Sugarman comes running out the door and is mouthing the words, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I just looked at her and I said, 48 pages of music.
I will say, in Mary Sugarman's, darling Mary Sugarman's defense, that is a yeah, pay me. Exactly. That is
48 pages. Pay me. I agree.
In Mary Sugarman's case, though, that is a policy in the office set forth by Tara Rubin, not by Mary Sugarman. And Mary Sugarman was just going with what the office does because that's not her style. It's not. She's very conscious of, I think, of, that trouble that actors go to. And I do not pretend to know why it is the policy of Tara Rubin, but she's famous for it, and she has her reasons, I'm sure.
Well, in this case, I know that she emailed my agent afterwards and said, "Oh, we tried to get Benjamin to come back in the room, but he'd already left." And and I was like, "No, I don't actually believe that." But they were saying that this is what the team from England had requested. But I will note that once the team from England left and they were it's 6 months later when they were going through the next round of auditions, they called me back in again. And it was like, please learn these 3 pages of Prima Donna and, we'll go from there. So it was they knew, but it was just like whether or not you have the power to
I know. It's actually kind of silly for us at this point in our lives to think. Every time we get all this material, we're like, okay, here we go. It's kind of ridiculous for me to think they're going to watch it all. There's no previous evidence that that's ever happened. Even with the live version where they go, we're not doing those 4 scenes. We're just doing the one, while you're in the hallway. I had one where I went in, I was so prepared. I had to do an Australian accent. I had to be, no, excuse me. I'm sorry. A New Zealand accent.
Oh, well, no.
What about the emus, right? Is that Australia or is that
Australia?
That's Australia. Okay. And I had to do an Australian accent, and I really practiced my Australian accent and everything. And I think I was pretty good for the material I had. I could nail it for the material I had.
Yeah.
And I had my whole thing, and it was the character, his daughter, and a narrator that you could either play that you're seeing or not seeing because they didn't say which. So I was playing it like, who is this person talking, or what is that voice? I can't remember, but I had a whole funny take on it. It's a 3-person scene, and it's 7 pages or whatever. It was a really funny scene. I go in, I sing, I have them in the palm of my hand. They loved me. They loved my song. They just were like, what's that song? Who are you? How did you arrive here? You're brilliant, right? And then now we're going to sing, and the casting director, speak, and I'm getting my pages for the scene out of my thing on the top of the piano, and the casting director stands up and go, by the way, we cut the narrator. We're not doing the narrator. Did you get those? And I was like, what? And he's like, we cut the narrator. Are you okay with that? And I was like, and in my mind, I thought, well, I've already got them in the palm of my hand. So yeah, I'm fine with that. I'll wing it. And this is great. They'll get to see me like, well, I didn't wing it. It didn't get wrong because it threw me too much. It just threw me too much. And in hindsight, I could see myself saying, I actually didn't get a heads up about this. So why don't I take this out and relearn it? And, and I don't have a problem doing that. I honestly don't normally. I'm always telling people, do your thing.
It's your moment.
It is your moment. And I don't. But because I was like sort of riding on a high, I
didn't want to lose the momentum.
I didn't think I was gonna lose any. Oh my God! And I really, really, really take exception with the casting director doing that, but he's a great casting director. I love him, and I don't, who knows what he probably thought he had or whatever. But it was one of those things where it was like, Jesus Christ, you really gonna do that? Yeah.
Oh, the things we have to ride with. I had an audition to play a trans man on the L Word, and I was so self-conscious. It's the only audition I've ever gone to in character, LOL. Oh, in character as a trans man. Okay.
Danielle.
Get it, Danielle?
That's funny, Danielle. That's really funny.
I will
Oh
say,
my God, I never knew that.
I went through a phase of, I think my first television job that I booked in America was a drag queen on One Life to Live, the soap opera. And we had to go, this was in person. So I had to get in full drags, get my ass to ABC and do this audition. And I booked it, and it was great. And I had 4 episodes on One Life to Live. And it was, a great
As a drag queen, your character was a drag queen?
Yeah,
I did. You out of drag also?
Yeah. I start the arc as the bar manager, and then I have to go get ready for the show. Big show's coming up soon, and so I have to go get ready, come back in full shablam, and
wow.
For the next year after that, my agent sent me for every drag queen, cross-dresser, trans person. I mean, I have never worn so many women's clothes in my life.
Well, this kills me because with Danielle here, who is a cisgender woman, presents as a cisgender woman, I'm wondering, like, if she went in character, like, was that casting director forevermore going, now does Danielle play straight men as well? Or, like did they think she was a man? Or like a trans man? I
have told Elle Morgan, who is commenting this, because one of the auditions that I went was for a character in the movie Precious. Remember it won the Academy Award for
yes,
Monique won the Academy Award as the horrifying mother, and Gabor Sidibe as Precious. And there was a character in there called Cornrows, who was the secretary at the school that Precious was going to. And I saw that the character's name was Cornrows, and so I wore one of those sort of Rick James wigs, because they were like, oh, we don't know if it's going to be a drag character or a trans character. We're really open-minded about who this is. And so I go to this audition in full drag and like a Rick James braids wig.
Oh my God, but that sounds fabulous though.
The character is Cornrows. Of course, Sherry Shepherd booked the role. So
whatever. Potato. Danielle, in the script described the characters mainly manly back during sex. I was like, holy shit, wait, what? Manly back? I don't understand what you mean, Danielle. I did like a boyish because Danielle's like, you could play a tomboy, one of the boys kind of a girl, Danielle, and you could actually, Danielle, you should do the Justin Bieber story. You should see Danielle, because all you have to do is like scrunch up your hair and be like, yeah. Doesn't look masculine or anything, just pretty.
Yeah, sure.
You're a pretty Danielle. Let's face it, you're a pretty boy.
Exactly, Elle Morgan. That was me as Cornrows, just full appropriation. It was just so incorrect in so many levels. We're smarter these days. We're more educated these days.
I mean, unless you're playing, let's say the character is somebody that's like, we want a white person who is so awkwardly trying to be hip and black. You know what I mean? Without being black. You know what I mean? Like, it's part of the culture and all that shit. That would be terribly hard.
There have some people like anyway. Well, actually, this is interesting segue into our next video about you'll see why. But here's our next video from living legend David Beach.
Okay, my unhinged audition story. When I was in my early 30s, I was doing a lot of auditions for plays that I was asked to be a young Jewish intellectual, that sort of talkative, Jewish young man who was in a lot of plays of the time. And soon after that, a casting director called me and she asked me to come in for this film. And I was really trying to build up my reel. And it was a movie about this young Jewish intellectual and his relationship with his Jewish mother. So it was basically sort of an autobiographical pick. And it was a funny screenplay, and I thought it was really well written. And she said, I'm not sure if you're quite right for it, but you'd be playing him, and I think that you guys would get along. So I come in for an audition, and this guy and I hit it off. He was like, I really thought he was funny. He thought I had a good read, and I was happy that I didn't think that I was like quite be what he was looking for, but it was a good audition. I got a call from the casting director. She said, he wants you to come back. He really liked you. He wants you to come in for a different part. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. That's great, whatever. I thought he was a really interesting guy. I liked the screenplay. I said, what part? And she said, he wants you to come back for his mother, for his Jewish mother. And I thought, wow. Okay. I thought like it's more experimental film than I realized. So I come to the callback, and it's me and a bunch of 60-year-old Jewish actresses who are all getting ready for their callback to play his mother. And all of us read. Yes.
Oh my God.
I did not, and I was actually kind of happy about that, but it was unhinged, and I was excited to even be considered to be his mother.
I thought he was going to say, well, when they finally asked me if I was Jewish and I said no, that would turn out to be a problem.
Exactly, El Morgan.
Is this a prank? I know. See, that
Yeah.
comes under the category, El Morgan, that comes under the category definitely of just plain weird. Like some of these things are like, you can't write this shit. You cannot make this shit up. And we, of course, as actors are like, okay.
Exactly right.
We don't go, you want a what? We're like, okay, yes, and
Yeah, exactly.
a job? Okay. What do you want me to do?
Have you got another personal story to send us on our way into the morning?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh God, I've got thousands of them with my millions of years of experience. The director thinks I have a range. Yeah. No, actually, but not for nothing, but El Morgan, but that's exactly what a lot of us really do in our whole careers. Not just about auditions, but about all of it. It's like we keep having to figure out what's the glass half full part of it, because what's the alternative? We stop.
Right.
We don't do what we love. We succumb to the sadness of the day. There's some of those days have put me under the bed in a fetal position.
Right.
Back in the day, not in well, let me think. When was the last time? I don't know. Not for a long time. But they hurt. They hurt. And in the end, we have to find a way to like get buoyant again. It's like, oh, they think I've got range.
It reminds me of that line in Tootsie where it's like, this is actually one of the great acting challenges that an actor could have, is playing, playing something where you're like, me? Really? Okay. I guess I'll do it. Okay.
My favorite one that I'll
stay
share with
open-minded.
you, the very last one I'll share with you is my favorite because it actually has an ending that is so strangely satisfying. So I went in, had my big break was the Pirates of Penzance that the Shakespeare Festival produced with Linda Ronstadt and everybody. And I was in Los Angeles in high school when it happened. But when I graduated, they were casting the first national tour. By then the show was on Broadway. It was a big hit. So I auditioned and I got in the first national tour, which started in Los Angeles. And it was directed by the guy who won the Tony that year he Wilfred Leach, the director, is no longer with us. Sweet guy. And from there, after that, I went in for every musical he was directing on Broadway. Same group. And, our choreographer was Graziella Daniela. It was the Shakespeare Festival. And they were producing a lot of shows for the Park and the Public Theater. And I'd go in for every single one of them. I'd get called back and I wouldn't get the job. And it must have happened like 4 times. And I'm young. So that seems like 1,000. And I finally went in for a little show called The Mystery of Edwin Drood, and that they were going to do in the park. And I went in and I sang for the role of deputy, and it's Wilfred Leach and Graziella Danielle and Rupert Holmes, who wrote the show, wrote the book, the score, and the lyrics. And for those of you, if those of you don't know, Rupert Holmes was already a celebrity for winning a Grammy for writing what's known as the Pina Colada song. If you like Pina Colada. Yeah, it's actually got a different title. I forget what it's called.
It does. Yeah, I can't remember either. But yeah.
And right, so I was aware that I was in the presence of like, this guy's pretty famous. He's writing a musical.
Industry. You're in that.
Yeah. So anyway, I sang for them. And there weren't any lines. I sang for them, and they wanted to see a general kind of, and they were like, "So great to see you, Patrick. Thanks so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you." And I didn't hear, "We're going to call you back," or anything. And I left, and I got all the way down to the street. This was in the 80s, 80, I don't know, 83, 84, maybe 85. And I went, "Nope." And something bodily turned me around. I got back in the elevator, went straight up. The casting director was just opening the door after somebody auditioning, to get the next person, and I said, "Just a minute," and I walked right past them into the room, and he was like, "Oh, okay." He came in with me and closed the door, and they were like, "Oh, hi, Patrick. Did you forget something?" I was like, I just have to say, I've auditioned for you guys for a number of things, and you always have me back, and I'm so appreciative, and I know you believe in me, but I really feel like if I don't work with you, if you don't cast me on this, it's never going to happen. And I really, really, really would be great for this show. I'm just certain of it. I'm it. You want me in this show. And I knew they loved me in the show that I was in. I knew they loved me in the show I was in, and that I had done well for them. And they were like, and Rupert jumps up from the table. He's like, "You know what? Let's just see. Well, I don't have any. We love your resume. Let's. He's doing the scales, and I'm singing, and everything. He's like, "Yeah, you've got a great voice. I just don't. We don't." And Rupert's like, Wilfred's like, "It's not you, Patrick. We will keep. Don't worry. It is not you. It's just not." And I was like, "Oh God, I've now arced this out." And so I ended up I was like, "Well, okay. I felt I had to." We're so glad you did. It's lovely to see you. Don't worry. We're glad. So I made a joke on the way out that made them all howl with laughter. I cannot remember what it was. Thank God. I was like, leave him on you know what I mean?
Leave him laughing.
And I left. Okay. Never got. A year later, after I'd gone away and done a TV series and then come back, I'm cast in the first regional production ever of The Mystery of Edwin Drood. And they're going to workshop it. And so Rupert, unbeknownst to me when I got cast in it, as the deputy, Rupert Holmes is going to take the best of London, the park, and Broadway. He's going to make the published version. So we're actually a workshop production. And the director with whom I'd worked before said, "I'm going completely different with the role of the deputy. I want you to do it like we're talking like Dickens gone crazy bad. Like, I want you to be like a ghoul music hall. You and the Gravedigger are going to be like a team." Okay, well, we did. Well, it was a massive hit the way we did it. It caused the whole show to have different endings and be a different vibe and everything. And then they asked me to do it in LA. It was a big deal. I'm sitting in rehearsal with Rupert Holmes in the midst of that. And he looks at me, and in New York City, in a rehearsal studio that overlooks Schubert Alley. Those were the days. And he looks at me and goes, "God, I'm so sorry that you never came in for this on Broadway. You would have made this. If we had known then what we know now because of the way you're doing this role." And I went, "Well, I did come in.
I did. I was that guy."
"What?" And I go, "Yeah, I came in for it." He's like, "No, you didn't." I said, "Yeah, I remember I came in and I was like," I said, and all the color drained from his face. He goes, "That was you?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I can't believe we didn't cast you." I'm like, "Well, I'm cast now." About 7 hours later, it's 3 a.m, 12 hours later, it's 3 a.m, the phone rings. "Patrick?" "Yep. It's Rupert Holmes. I've written a murder confession for you. I'm going to make you a murder suspect in the show. Do you have a pencil?" So I got to debut a murder confession. Isn't that great?
Oh my God, what a great story. Aren't you
So it went from
clever?
the worst to so satisfying. It's like, you
So
know,
good. So good.
just
And
to
actually,
goes to
David
show you.
Beach, whose video we saw before, played Durdles in The Mystery of Edwin Drood that Natalie Welch and I did at good speed 2 years ago. There you
Oh yeah,
go.
that was wonderful. Yeah.
Full circle.
P.S. They never do deputies that way. They've never done that. Nobody ever does a deputy in Durdles that way. Nobody.
Yeah,
I don't
our
know why.
deputy only got one chance to be the lover in one of the endings. He got
See,
voted.
the way we did it, the deputy, the way it was portrayed with Tony
only one.
Azito, the late Tony Azito, and that caused the deputy to be the lover every single performance.
Oh yeah.
Because he was so ghoulish, you couldn't resist.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
Excellent. We want to thank everybody for joining us, both live and all of these amazing submissions. We will be back for another live podcast in 2 weeks from this very moment. 2 weeks from now.
Who knows what we're going to talk about? We don't know. You can't make us.
You tell us. What the hell should we
actually,
talk about next? Tell us.
Right.
But this has been so much fun, and I'm so grateful to everybody who shared today. Andy Palicelli, David Beach, Lisa Carlin, Natalie Welch, Danielle
Walters,
for her.
Danielle Weeks.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. We'll be right back in 2 weeks' time. So we'll see you then. Come on back here.
We love you very much. Tell Morgan, you and those bold and posted moments of yours. I love that. Yeah.